Hare Krishna. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. So here it is, beautiful day. Rained pretty heavily yesterday. Now all the little plants and everything, they got a good drink. And now the sun is out. It's really beautiful. So here's what's going on here. How do you turn this around? Still trying to figure out how to use this thing. Okay, there we go. So, boy, Krishna, so merciful to me. I get to spend my last days in some place like this. Just amazing. That's the pecan tree. It looks like it's dead, and it probably is getting ready to leave. It's very old, but it has some new little growth coming out. And from what I understand, pecan trees are the very last ones after the winter. They're very, very cautious. They don't want to get hit with a frost, so it's just starting to. That's all Spanish moss on there. It doesn't hurt the tree. It just likes to grow on trees. And it's hard to see what's on the screen because of the sun. Hare Krishna. Anyway, there's a little shed. You can hear the birds are having a good time. And there's so much reflection. I can't see what's going on here. But Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's just kind of like what it looks like here. Let me get in the shade. Maybe I'll be able to see what's on the screen. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. I just didn't have the heart to cut this thing down. It's a thistle. And it was just in its glory. And it's a weed. Some people use it as an herb, but I just didn't have the heart to cut it down because it was just having such a good time. So, but now it's pretty much done, so I'll take it out. And that's the wood pile that Vashuki Das likes. When they wake up after sleeping for like 20 hours and they realize they're a little hungry, they slither over to this wood pile for something to eat. Either lizards or bugs or whatever it is they eat. And then they go back to sleep. It's like the mode of ignorance. Really the mode of ignorance. Poor creature. Hare Krishna. Anyway, Hare Krishna. That's the house with the new porch enclosure. So that's what's going on here. There's a big garden in the back where that fence is. And that's the grapefruit tree. It has little baby grapefruits on it already. But it won't be for like another 9 months before anything. So it's a beautiful day. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm chanting Hare Krishna. And I'm miserable. Hare Krishna. But why are you miserable? Because as beautiful as it is, it's still the material energy. I mean, you can develop the insight to be able to see even the material energy spiritually. But as nice as this is, there's something a lot nicer. And that is the actual spiritual world, which is like the nicest possible situation in the material world. Can't compare to the spiritual world. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to come back here. Let me get the book. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Chaitanya. I'm not ungrateful. It's like, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I still have some time to do here. Thank you for this arrangement. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was thinking, a materialist who doesn't really have access to any realization of a whole nother atmosphere, spiritual atmosphere, spiritual energy. If they're sitting in a really nice, comfortable position and everything's great, and they're also not feeling completely satisfied, because you can't be in the material world, you can't be completely satisfied. So, because we're spiritual, that's where our real satisfaction is, in spiritual life. So if they're feeling dissatisfied, they're thinking they need more material stuff. No matter how much material stuff they have, they're thinking the reason they're not completely satisfied is they need more material stuff. So they just keep striving and striving and striving, and according to whether their karma allows it or not, they might accumulate quite a bit of material stuff, like billions of dollars, and you're still not satisfied. Well, I have 2 billion, I must need 4 billion. Whereas I'm sitting here, I don't have billions. Trust me, every penny screams. But somehow or other, there's some facility, and it's decent. It really is. It's more than I could have ever hoped for. Seriously, I'm so appreciative. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. But I'm still not satisfied. Why? Because not that I have this nice, now I need more material facility, and that'll make, no, it's because I want Krishna. I don't want one of these bodies that gets old, gets sick, dies, and then get born again. You get old, you get sick, you die. I mean, let's get over with that, I know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has revealed the consciousness of the devotee is that even if I take birth, life after life, just let me always, be engaged in your service. So yeah, that's there. What's there? I still can't help not wanting another one of these bodies. Oh my goodness. Hare Krishna. Why? Because a spiritual body gives more facility for serving Krishna. There's less interruptions. For one thing, there's no death. I mean, talk about interruptions, right? I mean, that's a big one. So, the spiritual body is eternal. It doesn't die. Natu evaham jatu nasam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So if I'm sitting here in this kind of like mini paradise, Krishna, and I'm not satisfied, it's because, not that I need more material stuff, it's Krishna, missing Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's all in the holy name. Holy name of Krishna is Krishna. Because Krishna is absolute. So there's no difference between Krishna and Krishna. Krishna is Krishna. In this world, this material experience, this material realm, the name of a thing is different from the thing itself because names designate something. Like water. Okay, water. Where's the water? The water is over there somewhere. All you have is the word water, which is designating something. You don't have water. But in the spiritual world, like Krishna, he's not over there somewhere. He's right there in the holy name, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you might say, well, mood of separation is considered the highest, feeling separation from Krishna. How can you feel separation from Krishna if Krishna is Krishna? And you're chanting the holy name. How can you feel separation? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, I don't know, chant Hare Krishna and find out. Make an experiment, chant Hare Krishna and find out about feeling mood of separation. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Why? Because it's a mood. It's a feeling. Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's what the residents of Vrindavan are absorbed in, that particular mood of separation. But Krishna is there. He's there in that mood because he's absolute. It's not different. It's considered the highest mood of I don't know what the right word is, of a relationship with God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna. What is it? You actually want to, it's about tasting a relationship with Krishna. So, like, it is like a jar of honey. I like peanut butter. Jar of peanut butter. All right, peanut butter and honey. Okay, a jar of honey. And you can read the label. You can go on Google and find all about honey and about how the bees collect the pollen, and you can find out you can get all knowledge about it. You can get knowledge about the jar, how it's processed, different types of honey. You can get all kinds of knowledge about honey. But you really won't have a full experience of honey. So you take the lid off the jar and you taste. You have to taste. So you've got all this knowledge about honey and the bees and the flowers and the different types of honey and how it's processed and how it's shipped but take the lid off and taste. Then you have some realization of honey. Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari Hari. So the holy name is like that. You can hear all about it and read all about it and study all about it, but until you actually taste the nectar of the holy name. It's about taste. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. And that's made easy, or easier, by the association of devotees who are tasting the nectar of the holy name. It's kind of infectious. Everybody's worried about a pandemic. Well, Hare Krishna is also a pandemic. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is repercussions that are vibrating all over the world and the universe because of Srila Prabhupada absorbed an ecstatic love of Krishna, giving his association in his books and by giving the holy name. Hare Krishna Hare. It matters where you hear it from. It matters. Because it's kind of like honey's honey, but if there's some things in there that it wasn't processed very nicely or whatever, then it won't, the taste, it's still honey, but there's something else in there that, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama. So you want pure honey, and that's from the pure devotee. Hare Krishna Krishna, and then you get the pure taste. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama. That's what Srila Prabhupada has done, and the effects of his preaching are very much going on right now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. That's the honey. That's coming from the big bee. This is the big bee. Oh, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So let's hear from Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna. And this is Prabhupada's summary study of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which deals exclusively with the pastimes and activities of Krishna. Prabhupada, Radha Krishna, Hare Krishna, as he displayed them on this planet 5,000 years ago. And this is chapter 46, delivery of the message of Krishna to the Gopīs. And the girls are very much feeling Krishna's separation from Krishna. The nature of their relationship with Krishna is so pure and simple and sweet. Little village girls, and they just love this boy, this young boy, Krishna. And they would play together, and then the chief of the Gopīs, Radha, Hare Krishna. Actually, it's described by Vedic authorities that there really is only Radha and Krishna, and that all the different Gopīs are expansions of Radharani herself to increase Krishna's pleasure. Hare Krishna, Hare, just like Krishna expands, well, Radha, she also expands. Hey, Haribol Lance, Hare Krishna, getting ready to take off. Delivery of the message of Krishna to the Gopīs. Continue reading. It's a long chapter. Hare Krishna. And they've met in a secluded place, and Radharani is not very happy with Uddhava. He looks a lot like Krishna. And he's the son of Vasudeva. So, Vasudev's brother. So Vasudeva is the father of Krishna, and his brother had a son, and his son is Uddhava. And Uddhava looks a lot like Krishna. So she's not very happy about this, and she's talking to a bumblebee, while the other Gopīs are hovered around Uddhava, trying to hear something about Krishna. She's very unhappy, and she's chastising the bumblebee, which is an indirect way of showing her dissatisfaction with Uddhava, just like sometimes she shows her dissatisfaction with Krishna. So she's showing her dissatisfaction with the messenger from Krishna by talking to this bumblebee, while the other Gopis are all hovered around, listening to Uddhava's every word. She's on a rampage. Okay, so one of the Gopis, named Srimati Radharani, was so much absorbed in thoughts of Krishna by dint of her personal touch with him that she actually began to talk with a bumblebee, which was flying there and trying to touch the lotus feet. While another gopi was talking with Krishna's messenger Uddhava, Srimati Radharani took that bumblebee to be a messenger from Krishna and began to talk with it as follows. Bumblebee, you are accustomed to drinking honey from the flowers, and therefore you have preferred to be a messenger of Krishna, who is of the same nature as you. I have seen on your mustaches the red powder of kumkum, which was smeared on the flower garland of Krishna while he was pressing the breast of some other girl who is my competitor. You are feeling very proud by touching that flower, and your mustaches have become reddish. You have come here carrying a message for me. You are anxious to touch my feet. But, my dear bumblebee, let me warn you, don't touch me. I don't want any messages from your unreliable master. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that Srimati Radharani purposely addressed that bumblebee sarcastically in order to criticize the messenger Uddhava. Indirectly, Srimati Radharani saw Uddhava as not only resembling Krishna's bodily features, but as being equal to Krishna. In this way, she indicated that Uddhava was as unreliable as Krishna himself. Srimati Radharani wanted to give specific reasons why she was dissatisfied with Krishna and his messengers. She addressed the bumblebee. Your master Krishna is exactly of your quality. You sit down on a flower, and after drinking a little honey, you immediately fly away and sit in another flower and taste. You're just like your master Krishna. He gave us the chance of tasting the touch of his lips, and then he left altogether. I know also that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is always in the midst of the lotus flower, is constantly engaged in Krishna's service. But I do not know why she has become so captivated by Krishna. She is attached to him, although she knows his actual character. As far as we are concerned, we are more intelligent than that goddess of fortune. We are not going to be cheated any more by Krishna or his messengers. According to expert opinion, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is a subordinate expansion of Srimati Radharani. As Krishna has numerous expansions of Vishnumurtis, so his pleasure potency Radharani also has innumerable expansions of goddesses of fortune. Therefore, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji, is always anxious to be elevated to the position of the Gopīs. So, Radharani's right. We're more intelligent than you are, Lakshmi, because we don't trust that unreliable Krishna, and you do. Krishna. It's a subordinate expansion of Radha. Srimati Radharani continued, You foolish bumblebee, you're trying to satisfy me and get a reward by singing the glories of Krishna, but it is a useless attempt. We are bereft of all our possessions. We are away from our homes and families. We know very well about Krishna. We know even more than you. So whatever you make up about him will be old stories to us. Krishna is now in the city and is better known as the friend of Arjuna. He now has many new girlfriends, and they are no doubt very happy in association with him. Because the lusty, burning sensation of their breasts has been satisfied by Krishna, they are now happy. If you go there and glorify Krishna, they may be pleased to reward you. You are just trying to pacify me by your behavior as a flatterer and therefore you have put your head under my feet. But I know the trick which you are trying to play. I know that you are a messenger coming from a great trickster, Krishna. Therefore, please leave me. I can understand that you are very expert in reuniting two opposing parties, but at the same time you must know that I cannot place my reliance upon you, nor upon your master, Krishna. We left our families, husbands, children, and relatives only for Krishna, and yet he did not feel any obligation in exchange. He has left us for lost. Do you think we can place our faith in him again? We know that Krishna cannot be long without the association of young women. That is his nature. He is finding difficulty in Mathura because he is no longer in the village among innocent cowherd girls. He is in the aristocratic society and must be feeling difficulty in making friendships with the young girls. Perhaps you have come here to canvass again, or to take us there, but why should Krishna expect us to return there? He is greatly qualified to entice all other girls, not only in Vrindavan or Mathura, but all over the universe. His wonderfully enchanting smile is so attractive, and the movements of his eyebrows so beautiful, that he can call for any woman from the heavenly, middle, or plutonic planets. Mahalakshmi, the greatest of all goddesses of fortune, also hankers to render him some service. In comparison to all these women of the universe, what are we? We're very insignificant. Krishna advertises himself as very magnanimous, and he is praised by great saints. His qualifications could be perfectly utilized if he would only show us mercy, because we are downtrodden and neglected by him. You poor messenger, you are only a less intelligent servant. You do not know much about Krishna, how ungrateful and hard-hearted he has been, not only in this life, but in his previous lives also. We have all heard this from our grandmother, Purnamasi. She has informed us that Krishna was born in a Kshatriya family previous to this birth, and was known as Ramachandra. In that birth, instead of killing Vali, an enemy of his friend, in the manner of a Kshatriya, he killed him just like a hunter. A hunter takes a secure hiding place and then kills an animal without facing it. So, Lord Ramachandra, as a Kshatriya, should have fought with Vali face to face, but instigated by his friend, he killed him from behind a tree. Thus, he deviated from the religious principles of a Kshatriya. Also, he was so attracted by the beauty of Sita that he converted Surpanaka, the sister of Ravana, into an ugly woman by cutting off her nose and ears. Surpanaka proposed an intimate relationship with him, and as a Kshatriya he should have satisfied her. But he was so foolish that he could not forget Sita Devi and converted Surpanaka into an ugly woman. Before that birth as a Kshatriya, he took his birth as a Brahmin boy known as Vamanadev and asked charity from Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was so magnanimous that he gave him whatever he had. Yet Krishna, as Vamanadev, ungratefully arrested him just like a crow and pushed him down to the Patala kingdom. We know all about Krishna and how ungrateful he is, but here is the difficulty. In spite of his being so cruel and hard-hearted, it is very difficult for us to give up talking about him. Not only are we unable to give up this talk, but great sages and saintly persons are also engaged in talking about him. We Gopīs of Vrindavan do not want to make any more friendships with this blackish boy, but we do not know how we shall be able to give up remembering and talking about his activities. Since Krishna is absolute, his so-called unkind activities are as relishable as his kind activities. Saintly persons and great devotees like the Gopīs cannot give up Krishna, in any circumstances. Lord Chaitanya therefore prayed, Krishna, you are free and independent in all respects. You can either embrace me or crush me under your feet, whatever you like. You may make me broken-hearted by not letting me see you through my whole life, but you are my only object of love. That was Prabhupada. In my opinion, Srimati Radharani continued, one should not hear about Krishna because soon as a drop of the nectar of his transcendental activities is poured into the ear, one immediately rises above the platform of duality, attraction and rejection. Being completely freed from the attraction of material attachment, one gives up the attachment for his material world, family, home, wife, children, everything which is materially dear to every person. Being dispossessed of all material acquisition, one makes his relatives and himself unhappy. Then he wanders in search of Krishna, either as a human being or in other species of life, even as a bird. It is very difficult to actually understand Krishna, his name, his quality, his form, his pastimes, his paraphernalia, and his entourage. Srimati Radharani continued to speak to the black messenger of Krishna. Please do not talk any more about Krishna. It is better to talk about something else. We're already doomed, like the black spotted she-deer in the forest, who are enchanted by the sweet musical vibration of the hunter. In the same way, we have been enchanted by the sweet words of Krishna, and again we are thinking of the rays of the nails of his toes. We're becoming more and more lustful for his association. Therefore, I request you not to talk of Krishna anymore. This talk of Radharani with the bumblebee messenger, and her accusing Krishna, and at the same time, her inability to give up talking about him, are symptoms of the topmost transcendental ecstasy called Mahabhava. The ecstatic Mahabhava manifestation is possible only in the persons of Radharani and her associates. Great acharyas like Srila Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have analyzed these Mahabhava speeches of Srimati Radharani, and they have described the different sentiments such as Udgurna, bewilderment, and Jalpa Prati Jalpa, talking in different ways. In Radharani is found the science of Ujjvala, or the brightest jewel of love of God. While Radharani was talking with the bee, and the bee was flying hither and thither, it all of a sudden disappeared from her sight. She was in full mourning due to separation from Krishna, and was feeling ecstasy by talking with the bee. But as soon as the bee disappeared, she became almost mad, thinking the messenger bee might have returned to Krishna to inform him all about her talking against him. Krishna must have been very sorry to hear it, she thought. In this way, she was very much overwhelmed with another type of ecstasy. In the meantime, the bee, flying hither and thither, appeared before her again. She thought, Krishna is still kind to me, in spite of the messenger carrying disruptive messages. He is so kind that he has again sent the bee to take me to him. Srimati Radharani was very careful this time not to say anything against Krishna. My dear friend, I welcome you, she said. Krishna is so kind that he has again sent you. Krishna is so kind and affectionate to me that he has sent you back. Fortunately, in spite of your carrying my message against him. My dear friend, you can ask from me whatever you want. I shall give you anything because you are so kind upon me. You have come to take me to Krishna because he is not able to come here. He is surrounded by new girlfriends in Mathura. But you are a tiny creature. How can you take me there? How will you be able to help me in meeting Krishna while he is taking rest there among the goddess of fortune and embracing her to his chest? Never mind. Let us forget all those things about my going there or sending you. Please, let me know how Krishna is faring in Mathura. Tell me if he still remembers his foster father, Nanda Maharaj, and his affectionate mother, Yashoda, his cowherd friends, and his poor friends like us, the Gopīs. I am sure that he must sometimes sing about us. We serve him just like maidservants, without any payment. Is there any possibility that Krishna will again come back and place his arms around us? His limbs are always fragrant with the aguru scent. Please, put all these inquiries to Krishna. Uddhava was standing near, and he heard Radharani talking in this way, as if she had become almost mad after Krishna. He was exceedingly surprised at how the Gopis were accustomed to think of Krishna constantly in that topmost ecstasy of Mahabhava love. He had brought a message in writing from Krishna, and now he wanted to present it before the Gopis, just to pacify them. He said, "My dear Gopis, your mission of life is now successful. You are all wonderful devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are eligible to be worshipped by all kinds of people. You are worshipable throughout the three worlds because your minds are wonderfully absorbed in the thought of Vasudeva, Krishna. He is the goal of all kinds of pious activities and ritualistic performances, such as giving in charity, rigidly following the austerity of vows, undergoing severe penances, and igniting the fire of sacrifice. He is the purpose behind the chanting of different mantras, the reading of the Vedas, controlling the senses, and concentrating the mind in meditation. These are some of the many different processes for self-realization and attainment of perfection of life. But actually, they're only meant for realizing Krishna and dovetailing oneself in the transcendental service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita also. Although there are descriptions of different kinds of processes of self-realization, at the end, Krishna recommended one should give up everything and simply surrender unto him. All other processes are meant for teaching one how to surrender ultimately unto the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita also says that the surrendering process is completed by a sincere person executing the processes of self-realization in wisdom and austerity after many births. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Since the perfection of such austerity was completely manifested in the life of the Gopis, Uddhava was fully satisfied upon seeing their transcendental position, and he continued to say, "My dear Gopis, the mentality which you have developed in relationship with Krishna is very, very difficult to attain, even for great sages and saintly persons. You have attained the highest perfectional stage of life. It is a great boon for you that you have fixed your mind upon Krishna and have decided to have Krishna only, giving up your family, home, relatives, husbands, children, for the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because your mind is now fully absorbed in Krishna, the Supreme Soul, universal love has automatically developed in you. I think myself very fortunate that I have been favored by your grace to see you in this situation." When Uddhava said that he had a message from Krishna, the Gopis were more interested in hearing the message than in hearing about their exalted position. They did not very much like being praised for their high position. They showed their anxiety to hear the message which Uddhava had brought from Krishna. Uddhava said, "My dear Gopis, I am especially deputed to carry this message to you, who are such great and gentle devotees. Krishna has specifically sent me to you because I am his most confidential servitor." Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shia waiting at her. Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm clicking away here. There we go. Oops. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Oh, just awake. Okay, so, all right. I get it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, yeah, okay. Sleeping Beauty. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sleeping Beauty in the dark, dreaming. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Hare Krishna.